Bonjour. Oh wait. In 2018, I read 30 books. All this year. I hadn't planned it as a goal before the beginning of the year, but as the first months went by, I estimated this number. That became a goal, also to please my neurotic mind. It meant 2.5 a month. And so it became a goal, and I made it. I finished the last one a few days ago, and I'm really, truly happy about myself. And this experience, I had never read this much. And in this way, it's kind of a revenge on how I've always loved to read, but I've never committed myself to read more. And now I'm catching up because I know how much reading these books will have been rewarding to me in so many ways. I've grew from them. I understood so much. It convinced me of things I was doubting about. It opened my mind. I calculated, as the big neurotic that I am, it makes 7,732 pages. It's not much. It makes the books 258 pages on average, because some of them were really short and most of them were normally long. But every book, I'm happy I read it because it brought me something different. Because I planned, I was able to choose an equal number of books written by women and men, and an equal number of books in English and French, because I'm French. Firstly, because I don't want to block myself with men ideas. What I mean is, it's really easy to read only for men. I did it my whole life. But first, there is just as talented and necessary women writers out there. And maybe it brings more diversity in the ways of thinking, well, at least in the ways of experimenting life on Earth. And this is precious. And English, because I wanna improve my English. And I talk to English people, and I read 15 books, but I feel no change. Let's review. We'll start with what's available in English. Eat when you feel sad. I've talked about it already. It's a concept. It's unique. It's extreme. Soaked in deep nostalgia of I don't know what, the sadness of a whole generation, or me. This year I read the entirety of Ta-Nehisi Coates' books, traduced in French, so not the last one. And I also studied Afro-American history, and I'm really glad I got to do this because it's something that we don't learn in school, and it's a subject so important that I relate so much to, and that I'm deeply affected by, and that I have a deeper interest into. This one is necessary, it's efficient, it depicts the scope of the importantness of the problem, what it means to be black in the United States, that we might not see or not to the point that it goes to. This one is his autobiography, so it's more complete than this one, but they complete each other in telling the story of the life of the author. But this one is a letter. It's not complete, but it's a great way to start. Coates writes to his son, his Colère Noire. This one is an essay, very short, a simple demonstration of a wide problem, a historical tragedy. Lolito is gender reversed Lolita that I'm planning on reading next year. It's a very deep England, very depressed, very adorably dark. It's very Ben book. I'm kind of jealous because he wrote it at 19 and it's so good. Every scene is beautiful. I must admit that the first Ben Books book that I read, I don't remember a lot about it. This one is really beautiful, but this one is so complete in the comprehension and the magnification of teenagers' mind. I already talked about it. Great style, exercise, efficient, fun. Talked about it. Really good sense of formula. Efficient, euphoriant, graceful. Talked about it. Deeply interesting on how we could solve all of the world's problem simply, but we don't do it. So as euphoriant as it is, depressing. When you know what an author is capable of, it's upsetting to read shit from him. He tried to do something to show links between stories and to use multiple points of view, but it's just not pleasant to read, even if you can see that he can write. Talked about it, it's a woman that swims in 52 lakes around Berlin to get over a breakup during a year. It's again beautiful and calming and so witty and kindly fun. Makes you wanna go outside. I read it this summer on my launcher. Talked about it. It's again a book to read if you don't read normally. It's also a good one for a first book in English because it's really short and lively. It was my smallest book of the year. And still it is one of the most important for the way it describes feminism as the complex and important issue that it is. It was one of my fails this year. I read the two first books of Ben Brooks and I wanted to go further. So I got this one and I was so disappointed. It is called Alternative Literature, ARC-Lit. It's literature in the internet era. It's described as the relevant way of addressing the continual flux that characterizes life in the 21st century, information age. So exciting, right? But in reality it's just random phrases. Despite some of them being really poetically beautiful, I just didn't understand anything. There's an Italian landlord and the hero is depressed. He is in love with the girl. During the second part of the book, they're on a road trip in Europe with weird characters. I understood that, but I don't know if I would if I hadn't read it on the summary online. It's just random sentences. He talks to God a lot. It was a torture. Hopefully it was short. I get that he wants to revolution literature. So I went to see the Goodreads reviews and everyone who commented loved it. And to me they were all depressive artist emos. So new John Green book, long awaited. I wasn't so convinced about reading it and then le mec a fait un live dessus et même si j'ai pas vu le live, it convinced me. It's good. I mean it's quick, it's fun. It's a John Green. This year I discovered Miranda July and she instantly became one of my favorite artists. She is a writer, performer, artist, director, actress, and I love her. So I read all the books. This one I talked about. The writer is so smart. The writing is so inventive that it makes the ordinary story go better. But she talks about so many things concerning womanhood and being a 40-year-old woman alone so well and smartly that it got me to buy her other books. The first half is really funny and the second half is disappointingly the same. It's short stories. For most of them you don't understand the interest of it. It's always witty and clever in the writing. And again, the writing is so sparkling with amazing ideas. This is the third. When she was writing her second movie, The Future, she couldn't get to finalize it. So what did she do? She called people that had posted an ad on the news to sell stuff. And she decided to interview 13 of them and make a book about it. First of all, this is stickers. It gets off. Amazing. It is so smart and touching and interesting about the process of creation. It's like a journal, a bit autobiographic about how she gets through this phase of not getting to finish her scenario. It is so touching. This is typically something made for me. I love it. Alors là, I read it in one weekend, non-stop. So it's originally a website where the two artists, Miranda July and Howard Fletcher, they would give missions for people to do, really precise missions that are either relational or personal, and people from all over the world did it. I find that incredibly touching and beautiful. At the end, there is explanatory essays about this form of art. It gave me a lot of books to do, things to do about this. Take a flash photo under your bed, write down a recent argument, photograph a scar and write about it, make an encouraging banner, write a press release about an everyday event, write a life story. I came back to her, I really needed it. I missed her very much since the end of Girls, and I needed to forget the disappointing of camping. I read it in English this time, and I got so much more than 4 years ago when I wasn't woke yet. It was a huge pleasure to be with her again for the time of the reading. She's still one of my favorite authors. Just the way she puts words together. She's funny and interesting and so relevant. She has been a great role model for a big part of my life. She's an artist that I admire, that is talented. Her writing is efficiently good, and I can't wait to see what she will do next. Molina. Perfect train-taking, winter, autumn, depressing, Billie Eilish novel. I discovered her at the same time, and they fit perfectly. Molina died 20 years ago, and her best friend at the time remembers. It's again a wonderful coming-of-age story that isn't afraid to say when things are bad. The girl with a bad influence on the other girl that recently moved from her prestigious high school and that comes to live to this cardboard house in the lost and frozen Michigan forest. They skip school, do drugs. The voice of the teenager is again incredibly realistic. She gets back on what this 6-month friendship changed for her. Amazing. I read it really fast. Eating animals. I wanted to read something from Jonathan Safran Foer, and with this one I was sure to be interested. I got doubts this year about keep on being a vegan, which I've been for 2 years and a half now, and it not only made all doubts disappear, but it also convinced me to do a lot more. It's not a veganism pleading because the author isn't even vegan at the end of the 3 years he spent searching. But it's a reflection, a questioning about why do we eat animals if we don't need them? What does it mean in America today to eat animals? It essentially means that they're tortured. It's American-centered, it's a bit longish, but it's necessary. It presents a complete reflection centered on animal treatment, but not only. It describes all the reasons why eating animals today means for the animals, the planet, the other people. It's really good argument. This year I met for the first time Annie Arnaud. She analyzes her memory in such an interesting way. This is my story, I lived that. So obviously the feeling is strong when you read her describing methodically your experience. After it gets a bit long, but I'm really glad I met her. And so it got me hyped to read this one. I took it to the hospital for surgery and it was perfect for that. I got the shortest in case it was bad. It's really short, but just as important as this one. It's again something that I lived and she captures it. The intensity of a state of mind, this obsession. As long as I relate to her, she will bring me answers and I'll read her. I started this year with this baby, Fog in August, and I'll have to talk about the publishing house it comes from, La Belle Colère. I am still startled by how perfect the name of this publishing house is for the books that they publish. It means beautiful anger, and it's adult novels, most of them traduced from English, about teenagers and young adults and children, kind of like coming of age stories. All of them are amazing and all of them deserve to be read. They all bring something interesting, a new aspect of teenagehood. They have been doing 3 books a year for 5 years, and I read all of them. They all are amazing and I wait for them like crazy. The best thing is the frankness and the perfectness of putting together a truthful teenage voice. They always get the best coming of age novels, beautifully traduced, and a third of them has been adapted, and a lot of them is written by women. This one is historical. It's a young boy during the time in 1933 when he's 4 to the time that he's 14 and he's killed because he's Tzigane. It's not a spoil, it's on the 4th cover. It's an exception from the collection because it's not first person narrated, but even when he's 4, the impressions and thoughts of the character feel so real. It's amazing, the story is really beautiful. I remember reading it in the hallways of my old high school, and I finished it on the 1st of January, coming back from my New Year party. I'm still trying to find a way to watch the movie. That seems really bad, by the way. Beautifully written, beautiful images. Solange is the reason why I'm here in front of you today. She's a pioneer and a hero, and I have so much love for her. She's so important and unique, and we have a lot in common. I had my Solange obsession this year. It happened. She was my emotional support for many months. I owe her my back. She's still my go-to person from when I'm sad. Elle est tellement pertinente. Du coup, j'ai fait toutes ces vidéos sur sa chaîne bonus, et j'ai épuisé tout ce qu'elle avait fait d'autre. Ses émissions de radio, son site web, son film et ses 3 livres. Alors lui, c'est juste le script de ses vidéos. Du coup, c'est bien pour les gens qui l'aiment pas. Pour voir à quel point, sans sa présence, ces textes sont quand même trop bien. Et ça change un peu du coup des vidéos, mais bon, c'est pas non plus très bien effectué. Témoignages de femmes sur leur intimité et leur sexualité. Éclairant, c'est rassurant. C'est 20 femmes qui parlent de leur vie intime. Où est-ce que vous trouverez ça ailleurs? Et à quel point ça peut vous être utile et vous faire comprendre des choses. Lui, c'est mon préféré. Il a gagné le prix Goncourt des animaux il y a pas longtemps. C'est très habile et il explore des très bonnes pistes sur les liens entre la relation avec son chien et sa propre histoire. C'est très frais et pertinent. Ça n'a pas tellement d'ambition de plus que ce que c'est, mais dans ce que c'est très bien fait. Alors là, je parlerai beaucoup plus de plus tard, mais ce qu'il faut savoir, c'est qu'ils sont intéressants, drôles, intelligents, gentils, beaux, qui maîtrisent leur moyen d'expression et le rythme, et c'est memory, voilà, c'est tout. C'est des youtubeurs qui parlent de littérature dont j'ai déjà vu au moins toutes les vidéos 2 fois. C'est leur premier livre et qu'est-ce que c'est bien! Je me souviens que je l'ai lu en 2 jours parce que je pouvais pas m'arrêter. On apprend tellement de choses, c'est tellement intéressant et c'est tellement bien fait et original. En fait, c'est une discussion et c'est tellement rafraîchissant et ça marche et c'est vraiment drôle et c'est vraiment bien fait. Il y a 18 chapitres qui mettent en relation un élément de pop culture et une œuvre de littérature. Et ça marche trop bien. Et c'est trop stylé et c'est trop cool. Et mon amour pour eux sort en s'exprimant lui-même de ma bouche. Et je l'ai rencontré en janvier. J'ai lu en un jour, je suis allé au fond d'un trajet de tram et je l'ai remonté à pied en faisant des pauses pour lire. Enfin, c'était plus marcher que faisait des pauses du coup. C'est l'histoire des luttes afro-américaines, celle qu'on n'étudie pas en cours. Ça va, c'est bien fait sans plus. Chien, c'était mon premier livre de philo. Déjà c'est quelque chose, voilà. Tout le mérite est là parce que j'ai pas compris beaucoup de choses. Alors le début est très fun et très intéressant et il nous retourne la tête et on comprend beaucoup de choses et il a beaucoup de références. Mais très vite il se perd, il fait des liens entre les hommes et les chiens, mais il part trop loin. Genre les chiens sont au centre de l'univers, je comprenais plus aucune phrase. Bon j'avoue je l'ai rushé, du coup je l'ai bâclé un peu. Et j'aurais pu revenir dessus, prendre plus de temps mais bon. Déjà je l'ai lu, voilà, c'était mon premier livre de philo. Bon, Lui, il est encore frais. Le premier tome est sorti il y a 1 an et demi, donc ça a pris un peu de temps pour repartir. Dans ce tome-là, il se passe pas grand-chose. Ça se lit, hein, mais on comprend pourquoi l'heroic fantasy, ça s'étale sur 7000 pages, ça prend de la place. Parce que finalement, 400 pages, quand tu décris tout, bah, ça passe vite. Ils sont en Bretagne, dans le monde parallèle, puis retour en Bretagne, puis à New York, puis retour dans le monde parallèle, puis en Bretagne. Ah oui, donc c'est des histoires de monde parallèle. C'est écrit par une femme, c'est vraiment complexe. Elle gère bien son univers, et les scènes sont assez fluides. Il y a même la tension de vouloir tourner la page. Mais il y a un gros problème, c'est que les gens ne parlent pas comme ça dans la vie. Elle a un énorme problème avec les dialogues et les descriptions. C'est totalement littéraire en fait. Les gens ne parlent pas comme ça. Les ados ne parlent pas comme ça. Les adultes ne font pas non plus des phrases aussi écrites. Donc voilà, ça c'est très troublant, et ça sort vraiment du livre. C'est son univers parallèle à lui tout seul en fait, parce que les gens ne parlent pas comme ça dans la vie. Voilà. So, my favorites. Wow. I mean, I love them all, but Autoportrait en chienne, Not That Kind of Girl, Marlena, Eating Animals, It Chooses You, Utopia for Realists, Lolito, Classic, Turning. See, I picked them all. Next year I will do that again with more pages, hopefully, more serious. I think 30 is a good ratio to get the most from the books, but still having a life, you know? Keeping a good ratio between consumption and creation. In 2019, I don't want to tell you what I'm gonna read. I have already everything planned out, so you'll see. And goodbye!